One human bravely endeavors to play every arcade game in existence. These are his chronicles. Hey everybody, it's Ashgabat Cat, here again with yet another no-name MAME game. Today's no-name MAME game is none other than Raiga, Strato Fighter. So, let's get right into the game. Pow! Just adding a little emphasis, you know, remember Roller Glass is not dead. So I'm a little bit relieved that we're back to a familiar territory of a shoot-'em-up, even if it is a horizontal shoot-'em-up. But, I mean, it seems like we've been straying from the true path of shoot-'em-up enlightenment. So this shoot-'em-up lends itself naturally to auto-fire, and I have already enabled it. So we're playing as a fairly standard spaceship. You can press the second button to turn around, which, I mean, it was great to snipe that one enemy there, but it's probably something that'll be more useful later, but not useful so much now. And I have not been able to detect any sort of bomb in this game, which is, of course, disappointing. But we'll persist. Oh, we've got the ever-present trash enemy, where you just need to dodge his shields and shoot the spicy, juicy core inside. Just need to... As always, horizontal games and games of this era try to rely on having the background be the omnipresent fifth enemy, where you always have to be able to... I mean, dodging the enemy shots is one thing, but also dodging the background becomes its own impenetrable thing. These asteroids, though, don't really count as the background. Alright, and I believe we're on the final life. Most games do 3 lives. So I'm gonna play extra super special hard. Okay, I'm sure as any sort of fan of this series, if they exist, is sure to tell you that under no circumstances do I play this game too seriously. So, we'll see how this turns out. You know, I never really liked in bosses where, like, you can actually die while the boss is coming out. Like, you can get hit by the boss as he's spawning. That just never really seemed all that fair. Also, the boss being at the bottom of the skull. Alright, let's dishonorably continue. But of course, the boss is at the bottom of the screen, which presents its own problems. And you saw right there, it definitely wanted me to use this game's gimmick, which is pressing the button to shoot on my back. I mean, it's kind of weird that you still got this game where you're still progressing right as a spaceship, but you've got this back mechanic. I mean, it would make a lot more sense if you were, like, kind of moving down, or you were, like, left-right direction neutral, sort of. Also, just for those who are a little bit bothered by lack of thoroughness, I have not noticed any sort of charging in this game, so there is no real loss due to using auto-fire. Okay. So I'm going to go on a complete and total crazy limb here and guess that you're supposed to shoot the core and not actually his snazzy little shield blockers. Although, we're not entirely unrewarded for our efforts, as it is now slightly easier to destroy the core. Oh. Just, hit the, lag button there. You know, the lag button comes standard on every arcade machine. And now that we've beaten the boss, we need to be very careful not to kill ourselves on our victory lap. It's kind of like if you trip on a victory lap. People are like, how did this guy win again? Side 1 score, clear bonus. Tons of points for continuing mid-stage. Let's redeem myself by not dying ever. And that's not just pretty scenery, that is an obstacle. Of course. Oh, nice. Just in time to Make it work. Oh! Oh my god, it's... As always with these sort of older-ish-esque games, it's a little hard to tell what's on your side and what's trying to blow up your side. Also, I love that the ship is just randomly flashing, perhaps indicating that I'm damaging it, but come on, it's a friggin' giant spaceship. There's no way this little sucker's going to destroy it all. So we're just going to play it nice, slow, and easy. And hopefully we'll be able to outwit the game. Traveling in nice circular patterns. Oh, so you can upgrade the weapons. I was a little wondersome about that. Time the missiles right. Shoot any stragglers behind us. We got this game down. Now watch as enemies appear out of nowhere and completely destroy me. I'm just waiting for a random laser beam. Oh, homing missile. Alright, let's do this. So I can destroy this laser thing, potentially, even though it's doing no real damage to me, and doesn't make itself any sort of appealing target. Well, that's a little bothersome with the vertical shot. It seems to shoot slower than the regular rapid-fire one. Also dig the awesome mechs. I'd say they're sort of probably more Xenon style rather than Federation, but it probably kind of goes with the theme. I mean, you wouldn't really be fighting Gundams here, you'd be fighting Zaku's. Dang, they bear a passing resemblance, at least. Our best friends, the homing missiles, are helping us. Jesus cow, man. This is crazy. Of course, this was back in the days before bullet hell was a well-established thing, so of course you could just send random spurts of... Well, so the whole idea about bullet hell is it's a lot of bullets, but they're in very ordered patterns, and you can dodge them, actually. But games like this, they're just kind of like, more bullets equals more pain. So they just send a bunch of bullets at you. Not paying too much attention to how they're arranged or if you can even dodge it. So I mean, bullet hell, even though it's a lot of bullets and it seems very intimidating at first, it's usually made with a sort of fairness in mind. Whereas games like this, there aren't a whole lot of hard and fast rules. Just kind of do what you feel like. Wow, this okay. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything. I know how jinxing works. Man, this boss is giving me a run for my money. It's so tough. I am having Mondo trouble with this boss. Come on, boxy boy. That's the thing about bosses in shoot-'em-up games. You can actually hurt them a little bit by taunting them as you play. It's a lesser-known fact, but spread it amongst your friends. Oh, cool. You've got, like, upgrades on the round end screen, so you can kind of see just how awesome you are by how many groupies you have. Space robot groupies. And so immediately the game departs the theme of space and goes into weird bioorganism territory, a la R-Type and various R-Type imitators, such as Raiga, Strato fighter, and of course bioworms, always a favorite representation of bioorganic enemies. Blaster, I'm on it. Unfortunately, this is the kind of game where you slowly build and upgrade your ship, but as soon as you die, all your upgrades are kind of kaput. So it really adds like an extra double tint to the difficulty in that suddenly clearing it in one life is not really so hard a deal. God, right now it's just about prediction more than any sort of reflex. I'm guessing. Luck, too. You know what? I'm feeling a little bit low. Let's go down here. Why are there so many worms? I don't even know what's happening. All I know is I'm alive, and I'm gonna keep it that way. Oh, I've upgraded to the shotgun spread gun. Unfortunately, the enemies have upgraded to bubbles, which, despite looking unintimidating, they are very... Just kind of imagine, like, I'm Charmander and they're Squirtle, and they're using Bubble. Sure, you might laugh at the concept of bubbles being used against you, but as a fire type, you're kind of dead. Plus 2, you've got that, like, flame tail, and if that sucker goes out, then evidently you die. They haven't ever been too consistent about it, but... I don't know. The stakes are pretty high. And of course, we've got a surprise worm attack. Don't hang out by the side of the screen, or else you're gonna find out why you're not supposed to do that. Homing missiles are, of course, an unnecessary luxury. No need to get those. Always games taunting you with power-ups just out of your reach. You're not gonna get them. That was terrible. Why did I go for the power-ups, as I was saying? Once again showing there is absolutely no connection between what I'm saying and what I'm doing. So, of course, aside from dealing with these crazy Metroids, we can observe directly that our power-ups have shifted back to the beginning, which makes the game a lot harder now. And a power-up ship, but also a dead worm. Oh, this seems we have unlocked extra lives throughout the course of our plays, which really is the game kind of taunting us because it knows that we're pretty weak right now and we're having super fun just trying to catch up and not die. So, we're nearing some sort of time limit, so this might be my last credit, which not quite as dramatic as Last Life, but well, evidently you you can open those little upgrade boxes with your life. So I may have said last credit, but well, you know, sometimes you die quick. It's really just as dissatisfying as in the arcades too, when you've got that whole stack of quarters and then the game just like hands you your ass in exchange for your roll of quarters. And you go, worth it? Question mark? I gotta admit, if there's one thing I like about console games, it's the lack of quarters. Although I did always find it a surprising little power trip to be playing like the arcade collections, like Namco Arcade Classics, where you get to enter in quarters, but you have infinite of them. This was back in the day before emulation was invented, right, of course, even though the game was emulating. But, it was still kind of novel to, have infinite quarters. Kind of a dream of everyone who's ever even heard of an arcade. Well, I will say this about the game, they're really utilizing the, gimmick of switching your ship around. Well, they're using it effectively for the bosses. The stages, I'm not 100% on if they are or aren't. Oh, that's kind of sad. You can only... Well, you can explode from anywhere, but you can only hurt the core from the one side. Oh, that's a nice little touch. If I'm not imagining things, the core turns red when it's in any sort of danger. Ended ominously after time. Yeah. So, okay, I took the liberty of fighting the boss, and I did not pull a dramatic come-from-behind victory. Instead, I lost. So, on that terrible, poor, sad, ugly note, this cat's got a scat.